All right, what's up, Dragon Brood? So, Eldraine's been out for a minute, and I kind of want to talk about what 5 decks I think are the most fun you can play right now in Standard that we really couldn't play without Eldraine because they brought some really cool cards for us in that set. So, let's take a look at 5 decks right quick.
1,
The first one I'm calling Turbo Gruul. It's a way to do so much damage so fast, it's super flexible, and it uses a ton of cards from Eldraine. I believe it has Godric, which is great as a haste creature, can also be a flyer. We get to use Picnic Ruiner, which is a double striker, which surprises people, and it gives you a chance to put tokens on things. We even get to use Questing Druid and Ruby and Monstrous Rage. Like, there's so many cards from Eldraine in this deck, and they're all super good. And they can all lead to you just ending the game, which is even better. So yeah, this is a really fun deck, and it does so much damage so fast that your opponents almost can't set up sometimes. And even when they do, you can still punch through a lot of things, which is super crazy. But yeah, this is a really fun deck. Honestly, if you're looking to play Gruul, this is probably the version to be playing right now. Oh, also as a fun side note, I'm going to link to all the videos where I've played these as well, so if you want to see them in action, they'll be in the description down below.
2,
Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is Boros Tokens. This one's actually super surprising too, and honestly, it plays way different than you would think. But this also uses a lot of Eldraine cards, where we're talking about Imadane's Recruiter. You also have the Raging Battle Mouses in there, like all kinds of cards you wouldn't even think about playing necessarily, which is actually really cool. I think it also has Charming Scoundrel. You get to play the Virtue of Loyalty that puts all the counters on your stuff. But basically the plan here is you get some stuff early, especially artifacts. You sacrifice one of those, use Gleeful Demolition to turn them all into 1/1s, and then you have a huge board. And then you play Imadane's Recruiter, giving everything +1 and haste, and boom. As they say, I'm knocking stuff over my counter, I'm so excited. But as they say, Bob's your uncle and the game's over. So yeah, this is actually a really surprising deck and isn't that hard to play and a little bit easier to build because some of the cards that are key here happen to be commons and uncommons, which is also super cool. It does involve some rares, but there's a lot of other commons and uncommons this one, which is a little bit easier to build. So another fun one if you're looking for something different to play.
3,
Ah, yes, third on my list, Rakdos Rats. Like, this basically is an Eldraine deck anyway, because like Lord Skitter, Song of Totentans, the Sewer Witch, just like you go down the list, right? It's a bunch of stuff in here that comes from that set. But the cool part about this is it actually gets a benefit from Warhost Frenzy, which is a card from Dominaria. So doesn't even use the best cards from Eldraine necessarily. This is like a bunch of the rats that kind of just come together, have the ability to go wide, and can still kill your opponent. And the best part about this is, if your opponent is playing sweepers or whatever, this deck doesn't suffer as much because of Song of Totentans letting you produce a whole bunch of rats that have haste. Or if they just sweep your board and you happen to have played a Sewer Witch, then everything has a roll on it that's going to deal damage whenever they die. So yeah, this has a couple of ways to win that are actually really cool. This deck's a lot of fun and kind of surprising, actually. I didn't think this was going to be as good as it was, but this was probably my surprise deck of the season as far as the ones that overperformed.
4,
Sultai Self-Mill is the fourth one on my list, and mostly because I feel like the self-mill strategy has been one of those things that's been really close, but it's been missing a couple of cards. Well, we got some stuff in Eldraine that I think helped this deck a lot, and you're talking there about Cruel Somnophage and the Likeness Looter. Those two cards are both very good for letting you have an endless stream of big bodies. You had a bunch of stuff already that could be big for just a couple of mana. Now you have a way to just keep having more and more of them, and having another card that can actually mill yourself. Very nice. Or in the rare situation where your opponent scries something to the top you don't want them to have, you can mill their stuff too with the Somnophage, which is super sweet. But yeah, this was one of those decks that really, once it got rolling, you could just have big creature after big creature and just have endless bodies to deal with. As a matter of fact, I won some games with this even after the opponent wiped our graveyard, which was really surprising because the whole point of the deck is to put stuff in your yard. So if you can overcome that, this deck is totally still viable.
5,
Oh, and this last one's actually pretty funny because it was the 4-color fight rigging deck. This one surprised me, but honestly, I only don't go back to playing this deck because weirdly it almost felt too good, if that's a thing. But the idea here is you're able to use fight rigging with a pile of large creatures that we got a couple more in Eldraine, like, you know, the Sugar Maw, which is really nice. But This is all about Thundering Debut. This is actually such a cool card that lets you get two things into play. And honestly, the cool part about this is you can play this under the fight rigging, sacrifice the fight rigging, and then go get two big monsters. And we have stuff like Italian here, Atraxa, just tons of problematic cards for your opponent. And if that's not good enough, we have Beseech the Mirror, so you can actually just go search for one of those cards if you need it, or just go get the fight rigging, and then the fight rigging triggers during your attack step, and then there you go again, right? This one, we won so many games out of nowhere, just having so many bodies the opponent couldn't deal with. Like, this one was really crazy and a lot of fun. Like, if you want to do something over the top, this is probably the deck for you in Standard. And again, videos of me showing all of these in action will be down in the description below, and each of the videos has links to the deck list if you'd like to get them. And if you're just looking to get into Arena for the first time, or you know somebody that is, I have another video that gives you all the basics you should check out, so I'll link that here. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.